estate planning, and 3 crucial tax issues, what you need to know. Property taxes and Prop 19 in California. What do you need to know? Prop 19 is a new law. It's now part of the California state constitution.
Most of us fondly remember and kind of love the legacy of Proposition 13. Jarvis and Dan, the two guys who kind of made this happen many, many years ago, kind of in the 70s. The idea was to roll back property taxes, very small annual increases in property taxes. Then we had Prop 58, which allowed mom and dad to pass along the residence to the kids without any property tax increase, regardless of whether they lived in it or not, and another $1 million in assessed value. That was Prop 58. So all of that is gone, wiped out by Prop 19. So now we have dramatic property tax increases when mom or dad pass away and pass along the property to the kids. So we have first the primary residence. Much information is out there on the net saying that if your kid lives in your residence, makes it his residence, no property tax increase. Absolutely wrong. If your child makes your residence his or her residence, there will be $1 million worth of forgiveness. So in a simple example, if the value of a home is $3 million and your child moves in, the new assessed value is going to be based on $2 million. $1 million is forgiven, but still there could be a $20,000 property tax increase. It's absolutely massive. If it's a rental, vacation home, there's no protection whatsoever. So we're looking at these dramatic property tax increases that in so many cases is going to compel the kid who inherits the house to sell the property.
Very recently, we had a call from a woman named Sarah. She called us because she had inherited a house in Mountain View from her father. She was the only child, and her father literally built the house with his bare hands back in the 70s. The house is worth over $3 million, and he'd owned the house the last 40 years. And so the assessed value, the Prop 13 protected assessed value, was extraordinarily low. Let's call it $300,000. But the house was worth $3.3 million. So it was worth over $3 million more than the assessed value. His daughter, Sarah, did not make a lot of money, and she just wanted to keep the house for her family. That's it. Dad passes away. He leaves it to her, and she got a tax bill in the mail a few months later. And it said that her taxes were going up $24,000 per year. So she contacted us to say, hey, is this right? And if it is, what can we do about this? And it was right. And unfortunately, it was too late to really do anything about it. Because if you wait till someone is gone or wait until you've already transferred a house, it's too late. I think she ended up having to sell the house. We couldn't really do much for her in this case. Had we met with her dad before, we could have protected it. We could have kept those taxes low. A $3.3 million home with a $300,000 assessed value. And let's say that someone lives in it. If you can plan ahead and lock in those low property taxes stay at about $3,300 a year in perpetuity after it's inherited or whenever it's transferred. If you don't do the planning, even if a child's living there, $2 million is exposed to a reassessment because again, it's $300,000 plus $1 million is protected if a child's living there. $1.3 million is protected, $2 million unprotected. Taxes go up by about $22,000 a year. Over 10 years, that's $240,000. Over 30 years, that's almost $900,000 in unnecessary extra property taxes. Money that you have to pay in extra property taxes is actually even worse than it looks because you have to earn more in pre-tax money to have after-tax money to pay these. You can only deduct up to $10,000 in state and local taxes from your income. So to pay this extra $900,000 in taxes, the child would have to earn an extra $1.3 million over 30 years to pay this because they have to earn it. It gets hit by income taxes and they have to pay the property taxes. And let's say a child doesn't live in the house, so they don't even get the $1 million in protection. For the same situation, the numbers get even worse. Over 10 years, it's $360,000 in extra property taxes. Over 30 years, it's almost $1.34 million in extra property taxes that have to be paid. So let's say you have a rental property and maybe you have a child with special needs, or maybe you want to leave this. We have some clients who are lucky enough to have a home and a rental, and they want to leave the home to one child and the rental for the other child, just to kind of be fair. Zero protections from reassessment for rental properties, again, unless you plan ahead. Whatever the rental is worth at the time of your passing, if it goes to your kids, and if you don't plan, that's going to be used for a new reassessment. Let's say that a rental property is worth $2 million and the assessed value is only $200,000 because the family's been fortunate to have it for a long time. If they plan ahead and they lock in the low property taxes, well, taxes stay at about $2,200 a year. They go up about 2% a year. They don't plan, property taxes go up to about $22,000 a year. And then they go up from there. So again, over 10 years, that's $216,000. Over 30 years, it's $800,000 in extra property taxes. And in many cases, that makes a rental uneconomical. A lot of rentals in this area, the cash flow is okay, but not great. So we want you just to imagine what's possible when we plan ahead to save your real estate, because we can. But we have developed solutions, and we call it the Gilfix and Leopold Dynasty LLC process. The approach can work to lock in low property taxes for your family. And we use entities and special trusts, or a combination of the two. There is no one size fits all approach, because there's no one size fits all tax problem. Contact us, because we can even layer in asset protection for the next generation. We can keep property taxes low, get the stepped up basis, and protect the property for future generations, sometimes with some protection against lawsuits or divorce, depending on how we structure it. So it's incredibly powerful what we can do. Talk to us if you have these questions, gilfix.com, very easy to find us. Call us at 650-493-8070. I hope everybody's staying safe, sane, and healthy. Stay tuned for more. Give us a call.